When a swimmer retires, what's their biggest struggle? Is it the loss of their identity as a swimmer, or is it the loss of competition?
It can be both. I think it's really important for swimmers to, while they're prioritising that athletic identity, to also nurture other parts of them. And you know, there are swimmers who are studying. There are swimmers who, do have plans outside of swimming, and often it is quite difficult, that adjustment to, you lose that family. It is a family. So it's about, alongside that, building those foundations for that transition, life outside. So whether that be through thinking about, your career and perhaps what you want to do afterwards, and getting some guidance from the right people on that, and just having the right support. It can be really difficult.
So, do swimmers ever stay in the sport and keep chasing that goal for too long because they don't know their identity outside of the sport?
If they do that, I don't think they do it for very long. I think, the swimmers who come back after a big break have that renewed grit, that determination, and often there are some well-known stories of huge successes, the comebacks after a big break, really inspirational. I think for the majority, there are other areas that swimmers can go into in the sport. Presenting and mentoring is a really powerful one, and that's actually something that I encourage with elite swimmers who are thinking about ending that career and transitioning into life outside of swimming, whatever that looks like. But I think it's really important to do that work alongside that elite career. Start thinking about, and developing and nurturing those other parts of your identity that are there. They're just not being the priority in that moment.
So, when they finally let go of swimming as a sport and they look back, what do they say was the real reward of that journey? Is it the medals, or is it something different?
Depends on your motivation, right? It's obviously the medals are, that proof, that tangible proof of their success. When I speak to swimmers about their careers, it's often the relationships they've formed along the way that remain, after they finish their career. And sometimes it's, that sense of pride, standing up and looking in the mirror and actually, regardless of accolades and trophies and medals, being really proud of who you see in front of you. And because that can't be taken away. That's an internal reward, which you have control over too.
Do you think a swimmer at that level, when they do let go, ever finds peace? Do you think they would always live with what if? What if I'd kept going? What if I'd gone for another Olympiad, another 4 years? Or what if I'd trained for another year?
Well, in my experience, they become triathletes. Now, they often move into different sports, not always, but sometimes. And actually, sometimes just enjoy the sport for what it is, fun. Stripping back to that deeper sense of why and why they started doing that in the first place, and just enjoying, age group swimming and swimming, or having families, and evolving their role or their identity as a swimmer in a different way, outside of competition. So still staying in that community and in that swimming family, just changing, their role, if you want to call it that.
So that they're remembered within the family, but a lot of elite swimmers will be remembered forever, particularly in Australia with such a strong culture of swimming. Do you think swimmers at that level are chasing records for themselves, or they want to become immortal? They want their name to live forever?
It's very individual. I think both. I think, honestly, I think it's both. Swimmers want to feel as though they've achieved something beyond what they thought they were capable of, and really having that, etching their name in history, and being well known. There's that ego part everyone, of all of us. But I also think it's that internal, like a sense of satisfaction with just having exhausted that curiosity and that journey that they were on, to a point where they're then happy to stop. And often it doesn't happen that way. There's injuries which come into play, and rethinking, with the next project or the next sport, well, what can I, learning from what's happened, what can I then take from that to bring to the next adventure that I have?